Welcome to the football show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin, Allan Ruff and Scott Allan here with me in the studio. Great to have your company. Thank you for watching on YouTube and downloading on our podcast as well. If you want to join the football family, you can by hitting the subscribe button right now. It's absolutely free Monday to Friday. The two lads are with me. And if you want to subscribe to PLZ Premium and get additional content, competitions, giveaways, then you can do it. And the minute you drop in your subscription, then you will be in the hat to win 2 tickets to the Champions League final in Budapest in the Puskas Arena, and you get flights and accommodation as well. Can't be bad. You ever been to a Champions League final,
I've been to a few, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Chelsea, Bayern and the Allianz. Drogba? Yeah, Drogba to win it. I went to Pirlo's last game for Juventus against Barcelona. Remember that one? In Berlin.
Right.
30 degrees, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Manchester United and Barcelona at Wembley.
That was a good one as well. I was Manchester United, Barcelona in Rome when Messi scored with a header. Ruffy, you still do. Is that on your bucket?
Been to one. No, been to one.
2002.
The one with Marino won it.
Inter Milan.
Yeah, I had bought tickets for my daughter because she was a Man United supporter, and we thought Man United were going to get the final. So I phoned up by the SFA who was with to get tickets. David Taylor, and he said, "Allan, I'll bring you a couple of tickets at the Tynecastle Golf Day. Don't worry about it." So I met him and gave him the tickets before the game, and I opened them up, and they were £500 each.
Brilliant. Anyway, these will be absolutely free for you if you sign up to our PLZ Premium. And the great news is we have now we've partnered up with our charity, which is Maggie's Cancer. And if you go to www.maggies.org, you'll find out all the great work they do in supporting people affected by cancer and the support they give to families and individuals as well. So with that in mind, just before we get into the meat and bones of what we're going to talk about, I thought it was great, every football fan and many a football fan looks across the board at other sporting events, and I'm sure like many you might have been glued to the golf at the weekend. I thought it was hilarious that people are aghast at the conduct of the golf fans. It's the American golf fans, it's so out of order, and I was thinking to myself, wow, that's part and parcel of the abuse you get at football. Not that it's right.
I'll try hitting a corner at Ibrox. I think some of the abusive fans. I think it's just, obviously it goes hand in hand with our sport, but I always use that old one. It's not a sport if you're not getting shouted at before you hit a shot. That's the pressure moment. And to be fair, I think it actually, in terms of performance, helped some of the European players because you get that wee bit of needle in it, and then obviously you need to come up with a big shot. But the reaction to it was probably a wee bit overboard. But
yeah,
and it's not obviously associated with the sport. I can understand why.
I think there's a lot of people actually embarrassed about the whole thing. If you're from an American point of view, listening to some of the stories of not only the abuse, some of the abuse went way above and beyond, and also belting Rory McIlroy's wife with some beer. All unsavoury stuff. But again, have we been too sanitised to that kind of a thing in our game?
I think over here, if you play golf, there is an etiquette there where you don't, if somebody's hitting a shot, you just stay quiet, talk, nobody talks. But these guys have been in the game long enough, to handle it. But you're right, it's the personal stuff, that these guys are only human. You react to somebody says something about your family or whatever, but under the scrutiny of everything, the cameras and everything, there was one American guy, and he must have been following every game, and every time one of the Europeans hit a shot, he went, "In the bunker!"
Yeah.
He must have been walking about the whole golf course.
Yeah. We are sanitised, aren't
we? We absolutely are. We take abuse as part and parcel of the game, and what's happened now is the only kind of, in the last 20 years, maybe longer than that, and it still creeps in every now and then, but the only thing that really people took a strong stance on was the racial abuse, taking the knee. But even then, at times, I think, we've had isolated incidents of people just crossing that line. So it still hasn't eradicated it, but we are sanitised on the basis of the type of abuse. I think there's been some instances where a player has actually highlighted in the Liverpool game. Remember when he actually stopped the game?
Take the throw in.
And he was going to take a throw in, and somebody allegedly gave him, racial abuse. But yeah, we are sanitised to it. Doesn't make it right. Like to see it eradicated. Not going to happen. But I think in other sports, when you start to see it creep in when it's supposed to be the gentleman's sport.
But no question that would have made it sweeter for them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Rory McIlroy has made us stronger stuff.
Scott is very, very lucky. He won't know who we're talking about with Fergie at Hamilton. But lucky he didn't take up golf.
Yes, absolutely. Fergie at Hamilton was a Hamilton Accy supporter, Scott, who hated everybody.
Unless you played for them.
Well, I'm sure there are some who got pelters on the Hamilton side.
He used to wait right at the exit, the bus, any bus. He used to stand there, and anybody that come off got absolute dog's abuse.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was scary.
Yeah.
Really scary stuff.
And you get away with it. And with that in mind, again, the two people that are managing clubs that are under the most pressure at the moment, Russell Martin and Jimmy Thelin, it's the old, I think it's Shakespeare, to sack or not to sack. I've slightly moved the goalposts in this one here, but that was the dilemma over the weekend, and suddenly both of them survived. Nobody likes to see a manager get sacked, but we have to comment on the stats and what you're watching, and those two really were under pressure. And Russell Martin, in the end, is it a stay of execution, or is it just a case of maybe this is the line in the sand that he gets to build? Have you seen enough evidence from Livingston game that suggests...
No, not in the game, but I think if you're on a good run, you go to Livingston, you have that type of performance and you get the win, then not a lot's made of it, but purely based on how Rangers have been performing. I think it just, as I say, a stay of execution for Russell Martin, unless the performances were then to come and it becomes a run of games where Rangers put together. That's what we've not seen yet. We've not seen them go and win 1, 2, 3 games, and then you can maybe see signs of life. But that is, in isolation, it's a good result for Rangers because it isn't an easy place to go. And Livingston always ask you questions whether you're Rangers or Celtic going to Almanville.
Isn't it amazing how sometimes a moment in time, a sliding doors moment, can affect your whole career? Because
yes, I could go for a few of them.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, you've had more than a few. But I'm talking about in a team sport. I mean, many people say, I think Mark Robbins scored a goal for Manchester United. I know that Lee Martin scored a goal for Manchester United that helped him change the course maybe of Sir Alex Ferguson's career at Manchester United. You know how you look back on specific goals that are scored that when people are clamouring for him to be sacked, and by the way, the ultimate was they were clamouring for Fergie to be sacked because they hadn't won anything. But Max Aaron's goal celebrated like it was a cup final win, but it was more the relief of just getting a narrow victory. If it had been 1-1, I think it had been a really, really difficult dilemma for the Rangers board to look at it and say they're further behind in the league race.
Yeah, well, there's no question. I think that celebration that you see at the end, and rightly so, because it's the best time to win a game. I think the players, no question, they will feel that frustration from the fans, so they want to get the results. Max Aaron, who's had a hard time of it as well, obviously comes up with the goods. But there's no question, listen, even with the win, you've seen how the Rangers fans responded. They've already made their mind up. I think that's the biggest problem there. They've already made their mind up. I think enough's enough for them. But in terms of the players and guys, and Aarons who wants to go and have a successful career at Rangers, a big moment for him and a good moment for the team. I think James Tavernier again, who comes under criticism all the time, again with a big moment, obviously getting on the score sheet again, and still for me.
But it just shows you the celebration at the end. Just shows you the tension that's there, and that tension is on the park. As soon as there's a negative thing that they have to deal with, like Livingston scoring, you could see the players going into a shell again. And then at the end of it, obviously they get the win and they're celebrating it. I mean, I've never seen a Rangers team celebrating like that at the end of a game.
But it's real emotion. I think that's what you've got to remember here. When you are under that sort of scrutiny, that's the most natural way to celebrate, because they know what was coming if they don't get the win. Yeah. So as much as people might say it's an overreaction, that's the anxiety maybe that Russell Martin was talking about weeks ago. I think it's an overreaction to a celebration of a goal against Livingston. It's probably more realistic when you look at it. That's where Rangers are at. Every point is a prisoner.
Yeah, it certainly is, and you can see that certain players, the relief in their faces when the final whistle went and everything that went with it, because as we spoke about it the other day there, nobody likes to get into every game under pressure. I mean, as soon as you walk off the bus, there's somebody booing. As soon as you go in the park, there's somebody booing. It's...
That feeling you touched on there, though, Peter, when they concede, it's the moments where you can see in the Rangers players and in that team where they come under real pressure and it starts to get a bit tetchy, the passing gets a bit slack, and ultimately it takes a set piece to get you back in the game. And it was the same last week against Hibs. Rangers weren't creative up until Raskin got on the end of a James Tavernier cross, and you can still see the kind of flaws in the final third. They don't look like they're going to create real chances. Asgard, again, for me, I just can't see it as of yet. I can't see him going to be the guy who's going to go and create chances and score goals.
I don't see anybody, and I wasn't a huge fan at times of Ryan Kent, but he had a trick, and he could go past people and he could create stuff. And
you got excited when you got the ball. Something could happen here.
Absolutely, and that's the thing about it. I mean, at times, at times I thought he flattered to deceive, and he was a bit of a sand dancer. But he did score goals and he did create stuff. And again, as you said, when he was on the ball, you get fans thinking something's on here. But there's not. I don't see that from any Gassama. At times, he's going to try and get to the byline. I mean, it's like right now the Celtic fans are talking about Balak Wisha, and they're saying, what does he do? Because they're watching Tynecastle, and Tynecastle's only thought is, I'm going to take you on, I'm either going to go down the line or I'm going to cut in on you. And if I cut in on you, I'm going to shoot. Yeah,
but I think the difference in terms of, say, an Asgard or someone, and Ryan Kent, who you go back to, these players like your Tynecastle and your Ryan Kents, whether they created or they scored a goal or got on the side, they constantly ask you to defend and ask questions. I don't see that in terms of Rangers in the final third. I don't think they ask enough questions.
Yeah. Listen, stay of execution, does the European game make any great difference to you in your mind?
Yeah, I think, listen, Sturmgratz for all accounts, they're not a top side. I wouldn't say that. I would expect Rangers could win over there. I think maybe in terms of the setup, Rangers obviously in the counter-attack at times you would expect them to have more spaces to go and create, but I don't think it's the Europa League run that Rangers fans are most concerned at the moment. It's the domestic football.
Does it heap pressure on him then?
If he loses?
Yeah.
It just adds to already what the fans have already made up their mind. So whatever happens in the next couple of weeks, it would need to be an incredible turnaround in terms of performance and result, I think.
Yeah. Would it need to be?
Fans have made their mind up.
Would it need to be another Bruges hammering to push the board over the edge?
No, I don't think Sturmgratz. I wouldn't think Sturmgratz are capable of doing that to Rangers by all accounts. And I did watch a game earlier in the season to watch Max Johnson actually when he was there, but I don't think it will be as difficult a game as Rangers have had in Europe, to be fair.
Okay, on the flip side of that, when you talk about moments of being a sliding doors moment where suddenly the pressure's on and you think this moment will put the Aberdeen fans over the edge, it's quite simply a goalkeeper who makes a complete pig's ear of it.
Been there.
Yeah, well, absolutely. The problem is, Ruffy, I actually, it was agony. It was agony watching the Mitov situation where he lets it slip under his hand and into the back of the net. It was painful because I looked at Jimmy Thelin and I thought, every plan, every bit of preparation you've done to try and alleviate this terrible run, suddenly you're on the back foot and it's late on and there's no chance of changing it. But the one thing that we talked about after it was this could have been the moment where finally the Aberdeen board have said, listen, enough is enough. You can't score a goal, haven't got a point, you've got 1 point. But Dave Cormack's coming in, they're backing him up by all accounts. And, they're coming up against a side that I think personally Aberdeen could have a Bruges-style hammering at the hands of Shakhtar Donetsk. Shakhtar Donetsk are a good side and they are, top of the Ukrainian league. They're on a good run of form and they're the type of team with a better spending power than Aberdeen to go to Pittodrie and give them an absolute hammering.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard one. You're looking at the players at their disposal. It's a hard one to recover for that defeat at the weekend. Everything that goes there, but it's no scoring the goals. It's the one the pressure's on, you know. But I thought that game could have went either way at the weekend. I think they certainly had chances to take the game, you know, but they just couldn't get it over the line, and obviously the mistake at the end. But you're right, the owner's coming over. He says he's going to help him. You know, that seems to be the thing. I don't know what position he's going to play, whether he's going to be up front.
Yeah, up front, going to play just off the front too. Yeah, but by the way, can I just say something to you? The general feeling I'm getting from it is Dave's coming in and they're going to wait and bring in a director of football to help him. I mean, I don't know how.
They've got the players. They've spent money.
Well, exactly, absolutely.
They've spent money.
Yeah, I mean, the manager has to step up. I mean, he keeps talking about you can't look at last season's results. This is a new season. You can't keep highlighting the defeats all the way back to November. But I'm afraid you have to look at the run and say to yourself, 5 wins in 33 Premier League games. It's just not good enough.
So Peter's saying there that it could have went either way, right? See if they come out with 0-0 again, no goals scored. Is that where it's at? Where you're taking the positive and not getting beat, but still not scoring? It's got to be more than that in terms of the players, because they've brought in some good players.
Oh, absolutely. But the other thing about it, which I think absolutely, puts them under more pressure, is the fact that you've got guys like Derek McInnes went in at Hearts, and he's got a style and an immediate set of players that he's moulded. Jens Bertholascau's gone in. You know their strategy. You know the way they're playing.
Come on,
Stuart Kettlewell. I mean, I watched him at the weekend dismantle Dundee United. Played really good football. I was really impressed with Kilmarnock.
Signed well.
Exactly, but there's nothing at Aberdeen that I'm looking at right now and saying, well, he's tweaked it. They've won the Scottish Cup and he's built on that, and he's said, right, we're going to play another way. Everybody knows what way they're going to play, and I don't see any great wing play. I don't see any real danger. You said there's shoots of recovery in the way they played against Motherwell. That may be so, but they still can't get the wins.
What I would say is, though, see in terms of Motherwell obviously winning up there the previous week in the Cup, they back-to-back games are difficult at times. So Aberdeen seen them last week at Pittodrie. Motherwell still came away with a win.
Yeah.
Back-to-back wins for Motherwell in terms against Aberdeen.
Absolutely.
No goals conceded. Shakhtar, that is a real difficult task for Aberdeen. And you'd imagine they'd obviously set up to not be beaten. But at this point, going to Pittodrie, you're not seeing goals. Any goals?
Yeah. I think it's a long
unless it's against you, but
it's not far away before the fans start reacting, and there are
spent money.
They're there's a large amount of fans going to Aberdeen now, so if there's any sort of a backlash, you're going to hear it, and the players on the park are going to hear it and all.
Yeah,
it's
I
difficult.
Think it was something over 8 hours since they last seen a goal
from their team.
Yeah, that's a long time, isn't it?
And you know what? The thing is, see, on the back of winning the Scottish Cup, obviously Aberdeen, one of the biggest clubs in our country, you want them to be up challenging and making the league really competitive, but it was really something to build on. He's been backed.
Yeah,
performances on the pitch just aren't there.
Not good enough.
It.
Yeah. Listen, you two guys have sampled Edinburgh Derbies. You didn't enjoy them as much as maybe Scott did at one point. You get absolutely mullered right, left and centre.
Every time you play them, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, by the way, you had some good teams that you played in Edinburgh Derby.
We did. I mean, a lot of the games are maybe with the odd goal. I think it was 16 games, lost 6, drew 9 or something like that. But still never won a game, which still hurts to this day. But way back, things have changed now, because way back then, in our dressing room was all Edinburgh boys. They knew what Hibs was all about. They all lived in Edinburgh. They all knew that these games were there, and obviously Pat Stanton there, wee rookie there. Everybody, when that game came round, they highlighted how important this was to that side of the town. Yeah, but I tend to think that's a wee bit kind of a parochial in the attitude, Ruffy, because a lot of these guys buy into moving to Hibs and Hearts because they love the Edinburgh, they love the area. Their footballers brought in on their technical ability, and they embrace the city, its culture.
they get to know the fans. I think the feel-good factor around Easter Road is unbelievable at the moment. They've got some really good players in there, and equally so, I think the feel-good factor at Tynecastle is such that everybody's looking forward to this one, thinking it'll be a goals fest. I can tell you, having lived in Edinburgh for a long time, I've seen some right dour 0-0s when they cancel each other out.
Do you think that's got potential? You know, it is. You look how well Hibs defended at the weekend.
Yeah.
Grant Hanley, obviously for me, being key to that. I've seen him twice this season before Saturday. Livingston away in the Premier Sports Cup and the Scotland performance, and twice just the leadership qualities, wanting to get first contact in every cross. I genuinely thought he brought a real calmness to the Hibs defence, because Hibs had been leaking goals up until the weekend. It was up to Dave to kind of stop that, and they did. So interesting how he shapes up against obviously Hearts in that 4-4-2. It'll be really intriguing. But both teams now have match winners in their sides.
Yeah, and they've got goal scorers as well.
Yeah.
I just think I think overall, and I'm laying my neck out here, Ruffy, on this one, and I might be the minority based on the fact that sometimes I think footballers, and this is going to be slightly controversial, but sometimes I think footballers who've played for clubs before they get shit scared in case the fans give them pelters for having an opinion against it, you know, and they don't offer any kind of punditry worth its salt. I think Hearts will win. I think Hearts will win because he's just managed to get a side together with strength on the bench. But thankfully this week you've restored my faith in pundits who can actually go against the team that they played for with distinction for a long period of time, because you share that view, Ruffy.
Yeah, I do. I thought Hibs done remarkably well, you know, against Celtic. It was a backs to the wall. I think Celtic had something like 80% possession in the game. They defended. I hope that's not the case at the weekend, that they're backs to the wall. I don't think they will. I don't think Hearts are as good as Celtic going forward. But I think they need to strike first. They need to strike first, you know, because obviously, you know, the pressure that's on that game is the same as the Rangers-Celtic game. I mean, people think that it's not, but it is. You know, it means a lot to the people in the city, the bragging rights, everything that goes with it. I think both sides have got match winners, there's no doubt about that. But I think in the forward area, Hearts just have too many match winners for me. Yeah,
I think it's always difficult to call these matches. I'm hoping it's a goals fest. Because I'm excited always, as ever, when you've got somebody like Martin Boyle, somebody like Kieran Bowie, you've got that element up front. When you've got Nicky Cadden who can put the ball in, you know.
And the 5:45 kickoff on a Saturday hasn't let us down yet.
Yeah, well, absolutely. So, but then I look at Hearts and I see to myself, well, Shanklin can score, Braga's a joy to watch, Harry Milne puts in a really good ball as well. Casaridis is an absolute raker, yeah. It's got all the makings of it, and they just need to live up to it, the hype, and, you know, go gung-ho. I would love it. I'd love it to be
but it's not going to be like that.
No, but can you imagine it was just a great...
Let's just go out, yeah.
Well, we've seen a 4-4 before in a Hearts-Hibs game. You'd really want a schools football game or a basketball game. You have a go.
I would take a basketball, but if I was Isla manager, you're doing everything to prevent it being a basketball game. You obviously want to have control in terms of how many chances you give away and how many chances you create. But yeah, I think in terms of both teams, it's just both sets of fans are really confident in terms of both sides.
Yeah.
Probably the most excited they've been about both squads in a long time. So it has all the makings of a really exciting game, and we hope for that. But I feel tactically there'll have to be tweaks either side to get the win.
Did you enjoy the derbies?
I loved them, yeah. When we won, it's basically simple. If you win them, it's really enjoyable. One at Easter Road and one at favourite one was winning on Boxing Day at Tynecastle. Martin Boyle scored 2. Had a great night out after it as well. So yeah. They're the good times when you win games of football. That means so much to the fans. They're always good, but when you're on the losing side, it's obviously not ideal.
Did you live in the city?
I did for a year, yeah. I loved Edinburgh. So I think I said that to you before. Yeah. It's a great city. I love the football, and the derbies were a real pleasure to play in. Yeah,
always nice when you score a belter. That left footer of yours, I was at that game. Yeah. It was an absolute peach. It just sat up nicely for you, didn't it?
I sat it up nicely for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Just out of curiosity, in the pace of it, because he's always a goalkeeper, but in the pace of it, is it one of those games where you need maybe somebody like yourself or somebody just to say, I've got to try and, you know, it's going to be crunching tackles, pace, fans going ballistic for a throw-in. Tynecastle's like that especially. But does it need someone like yourself to just suddenly slow the game and just get a pass and start to...
I think already derbies, it's got to be the cool head in amongst the chaos, and who can put their foot on the ball at the right times. Unless if you don't have that, then it's very hard to get control, and then it becomes about who's individually going to produce a moment. Tynecastle, obviously, because it's more tighter than it is at Easter Road, definitely adds to that. I think the game I spoke about there, Martin Boyle's 2 goals comes from me pressing, which wasn't a thing I was probably necessarily associated with, but just by pressing, putting guys under pressure, and then you get into areas where you can hurt higher up the pitch instead of it being lovely football at times. But I'm with you. I think especially in the midfield areas, Hearts obviously with Cammy Devlin, who just loves getting about people, so the game's built for him. Hibs obviously with the 3 in there, it'll be who can get control in the areas, and someone's got to put their foot in the ball and be that real soothing kind of player in amongst all the chaos.
Who's the match winner for you?
I think Ruffy touches on it as well. Both teams have them. Both teams have them. It depends in terms of what area at the park. Because of this, obviously, see the weekend, the pace he brings. I'm with you, Bragg has been a revelation for Hearts. Shankland, but know the qualities he possesses. And then very hard to look past Martin Boyle with him producing a big moment again. Kieran Bowie goals have dried up a little bit, but he has that quality in his game, and even set pieces will be a big part of this game. So it could be a number of guys. I think that's why both sets of fans are really excited about their squads, because there's some real players in there now.
Call
it. Listen, I think there's no question. Hearts are massive favourites, obviously sitting top of the league, scoring goals, clean sheet the weekend against Falkirk. I think Hibs with Grant Hanley look different. Will Grant Hanley come in for the game? For me, he's got to play that leadership, as I says. But I think Hearts are just nudging it at this moment in time.
Ruffy, you same?
Yeah, I think they've got the home advantage, which it means a lot, but they're certainly on a run, and they're convincing last week. Yeah, again, Hibs did well defensively, but they need to do better in the forward positions. They need to get the ball into the main people, as Scott said there, Boyle, Bowie. These games can turn on anything, just like Rangers Celtic games. You just want a wee bit of a luck or a wee break of the ball, but I still think Hearts are on a run now.
And did you go out if you lost a derby? No.
Never.
Head down, just straight back to the house?
No, when they come out of the house there about Monday or something like that.
Yeah. You took it personally, didn't you?
I think you do, when I keep going back to the boys in their team, the Gordon Hunters, the Rays, Jackie McNamara, Ralph Callaghan. I could see what it meant to them.
Yeah.
I could see them hurting, and you, because you're living in the city as well, you feel it as well for them and the supporters. So it's a horrible, horrible feeling, in a derby game. It's hard to describe, once the final whistle goes, you've got beat. You just want to get out of there. You just want to get away from the whole environment of football.
Yeah, I always describe it as well, and I hate to be a broken record, but it's a proper derby because there's a huge away support there who get into that end and make it what it is. Amazing
if you win, especially if you score. Obviously had celebrations down that end, obviously after a victory. I think for the Hibs fans, they make it. I think they're there quite early on. They do a big walk through and all that now.
Yeah.
With the drums, the flares, all the stuff that goes with it. But
was there flags? Ruffy likes flags.
There was flags, yes. But listen, a great occasion if you're on the winning side.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hope it's not in any way spoiled by a VAR decision, something that just absolutely sways it one way and then all hell lets loose. But it's certainly going to be.
Hope not.
Yeah, handball was just the worst nightmare ever, isn't it? If it's one of those, we're talking.
Said it out loud.
Exactly. The handball needs to be sorted out as well. But nevertheless, it's got the makings of a great game. Give us your thoughts on it as well as we go through the week. We'll focus more in detail on the Edinburgh Derby. Scott's doing a special little feature on us on the Edinburgh Derby, the winners, the losers, the key men, and you can see that on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel as well if you want to. And over and above that, this week we've got lots of programming for you to enjoy. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. And don't forget the build-up with managers and players talking ahead of the games coming up over the weekend. We'll also be talking Scotland, Steve Clarke's squad in depth tomorrow as they get ready for 2 big games in this World Cup qualifying campaign, where Scott is hoping that at least one of the broadcast organisations that he's working for take him to America and Mexico. If he can't go to America and Mexico, then the game's a bogey, Ruffy, isn't it? He's working for them all.
It's fantastic, you know, that we've got to get there first, haven't we?
Yeah.
You know, and these games coming up are really, really important. But to go to 3 different countries and 1 World Cup would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the other thing about it is he's not just here locally. When Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert are booted out, we'll have Late Night with Scott Allan. Because it's the only programme he hasn't done, Ruffy.
Bring back Jonathan Ross.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait for it. Thanks to Scott, thanks to Ruffy, and thanks to you for watching and listening.